last night, fell to a very good Melcher Dallas team. They finished 20-5, have nothing to hang their heads about. They had a great season. So I just want to shout out to them. The Keota boys basketball, they've advanced to the district finals against Gladbrook Rhinebeck, and they're one of our few area teams that are still going. I wanted to shout out to Wells Clark, who advanced to state in bowling. Brock Alderson, who was first team all-conference. Landon Greiner, who was second team all-conference in bowling. On the girls' side, Jaden Montgomery was first team all-conference. Sophie Young was second team all-conference. Addison Richardson was second team all-conference. Wanted to shout out to Bubby McDonald, who's usually watching us, the three-point specialist from Keota, who bombed another three-pointer against EV first round of district play. And I know she's also watching. We just haven't been able to get her here, but I wanted to shout out to Caitlin Clark for being the all-time girls leading scorer, and she's 99 points from being the all-time overall Division I leading scorer, which I'm sure she will break. So on to that. Bruce, did you have anything else?
The only thing I got is we still have a few area wrestlers going up at the state tournament today. I know North Mahaska's got one in the consolation semifinals, and they got a finalist. Tomo's got a finalist, and I think it's Pickerel's a finalist, and then Griffith's still going in the consolation semifinals today. So the semifinals, you wrestle. If you win that, you wrestle for third and fourth. If you lose, it's fifth and sixth. So everybody wrestling today, the worst they can get is sixth. I know that Husinga from Waco is still going. He's in the finals. And probably the biggest thing from the state tournament yesterday was Max Magana got upset from being a four-time state champion. So that's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, that was a big upset. On to our guest here today. We brought in Mindy Jensen and Sean Stout, representing the Sigourney Special Olympics. Welcome, guys, and thanks for coming.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thanks for getting out of bed, Sean.
Was it rough?
Yes.
Mindy, I guess we'll just start here with you. Kind of what we do with our first-time guests. If you just want to talk about, go back, way back, through your elementary, junior high, high school years. I'm not even for sure what school you went to.
Yeah.
So this was interesting to me. Just, tell us about your upbringing, kind of what brought you to Sigourney and that
absolutely.
route.
Yep, I'm originally from Albia, Iowa. Grew up there all my life. And then I was teaching at Twin Cedars. That's where I met my husband, Jared Jensen. And so we both taught there for several years. And then Jared was just kind of looking to move up as far as coaching football goes. And we came and visited Sigourney, and we fell in love with Sigourney. And we've chose to stay here because it's just a great community. Like, you can feel all the people give back to this community like no other. So we've really enjoyed it. It was like 2011 then. There was a couple years where I was just teaching special ed, but then Judy Irwin, she was in charge of our Special Olympics team then, and she decided she wanted to retire. So she was really looking for someone to keep the program alive. So it was probably about 2013, 2014. I did like a year of just volunteering, kind of learning the ropes of Special Olympics. And then Becky Crawford, she was the assistant. And she had been in it for 30 years before she just stopped doing it. So really a lot of time and effort put in there. So been doing it since then, and love it. Love what it does for our kids.
Okay. Kind of tell us about the Special Olympics. I mean, like, how many kids are involved, or what you do for practice, whatnot.
Okay. Yep. So to qualify for Special Olympics, you just have to be 8 years old. And right now, it's just anyone in our school district. So you have to either have an intellectual disability, or it could be like a diagnosis or something like that, as far as like a cognitive disability as well, a developmental delay as well. So really, anyone who wants to participate can. Most of our students do have IEPs, or have been diagnosed somehow. But we're up to 9 kiddos. At the beginning of this year, we started out with just 6. So we've had 3 join us here recently. Sean has been in Special Olympics for quite some time. And I think he really enjoys it. Yeah.
So, Sean, what's some of the events that you participate in?
Bowling, basketball, track and field.
Are they allowed so many events, or?
What we do is each season kind of has its own event. So at the beginning of the school year, we do bowling. And then once bowling is over, then we move on to basketball skills, which is basically they do like a spot shot, they do a dribbling, and then they do a target pass. So they compete on that. And then after that, we have track and field. So it's very exciting for them. We all go to districts. They compete at districts. If they get a first place, then they get to move on and go to state, which is pretty exciting for them.
And where is the districts and where is the state?
It depends on the sport. So right now, we just finished doing basketball skills. That was held in Fairfield. And then state will be in Iowa City.
Did you get anybody from districts to state this year in the winter stuff?
We did. We only had 1 athlete, though. We had a couple other kiddos get second place, which doesn't get you there. But we did have Jacob Lucas. He is an elementary student, and he made it on to state in basketball skills.
Very good. Steve?
You caught me off guard. I didn't have my microphone on. Mindy, I was asking you before we went on the air, if somebody is wanting to volunteer to help out with Special Olympics, to help you out, I mean, do you have any other volunteers with you, or is it just you right now?
Actually, Mrs. Webb, our principal,
Okay.
she has stepped up and she's helping volunteer since Becky's not there anymore, which is amazing. She loves it. She started with us here when we started doing basketball skills, because that's really when we had 3 additional, and I was like, I don't know that I can do it all by myself. Just I needed some extra support there. But yes, if you want to volunteer to help us out, just contact me. There's just a few hoops you have to jump through where we would just get you qualified as a volunteer for Special Olympics. But we would love to have you. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. I was also going to ask you, while I've got the floor here, Alan, you're a coach's wife. Now, you're doing the coaches. Watch out for the buzzer there.
There it is. There it is.
You're a coach's wife. What's it like being a coach's wife? And now, when you're busy doing some coaching yourself, what's it like for Jared to be a coach's husband?
Football is he coaches several things, but football is the kind of main event, so to speak, but not that the others aren't important.
Yeah.
But really, football is a family affair. It really is. I love going and watching. I love watching him do what he loves. I love watching my daughter cheer from the sides. I love watching my son be out there as a ball boy. It really is family to us. And, it's just part of who we are. He does a great job of picking up the slack. I did just have my gallbladder out a few weeks ago. That was a little rough, and he picks up the pace, and he does the things. He, will come home and whip me up something to eat real quick. He really is a great guy. I struck the lottery with him, for sure.
And I was going to ask Sean as well. Sean, other than what you participate in with the Olympics, what are some of your favorite sports? Do you watch sports on television all that much?
Maybe some NFL.
Some NFL. All right. Who are some of your favorite players?
Aaron Rodgers.
All right, Aaron Rodgers with the Jets. Were you a fan of him when he was with the Packers?
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, glad to have you guys here this morning.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Go ahead now.
Nope, and Mindy, thank you for coming in. It takes special people, that, to work with the Special Olympics and the special ed, and I just want to thank you for all you do. So
yeah, well, they make it very easy. It's so rewarding to see them smile and just be happy when they're successful and they improve. So it's wonderful.
Hey, Sean, I was also going to ask you, how is Coach Mindy as far as coaching you?
She's the best.
She's the best?
So, Sean, who would you rather run track for, Coach Mindy or me and Coach Jared?
Oh,
you don't know?
on the spot.
we got to put a guest on the spot every show.
Oh,
Mr. Jensen.
look at that.
I would rather run for her too.
You know, I do have rewards like treats and stuff
I
like
was just
that.
going to say, I'll bet she rewards you guys. So,
Awesome.
all right. Well, thank you, Mindy. Thank you, Sean, for coming in today. Mindy, I know you got a big day ahead of you, so
Yeah.
thanks for coming in.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for your time.
Thank you
Thanks
so
for coming
much.
in, guys.
All righty. As we transition between our guests here on the Sports Section Coaches Show, we take a look at our Athlete of the Week this week as voted on by you, our viewers of the Steve Shuttler Media Facebook page. We have that poll up and running every week, and Brett Plants of Montezuma Wrestling was our winner this past week here on Steve Shuttler Media. I know Brett had a great year wrestling for the Montezuma Braves, and we congratulate him. Brett, our first Montezuma athlete to be our Athlete of the Week. So congratulations to Brett. Now, our next poll will be going up on Monday, so be on the lookout for that. We'll be asking for nominees tomorrow. We always ask for people to chime in with their nominees for the Athlete of the Week on Sundays, kind of late afternoon, early evening. We'll put that up so you can get your nominees in. I'm sure we'll be looking at several wrestling competitors and bowling, maybe some archery and basketball. So look for the Athlete of the Week poll. Again, Brett Plants from Montezuma Wrestling, this week's Athlete of the Week. That always brought to us by our friends at Keokuk County Hospital and Clinics. Well, let me adjust my camera here. We'll get the wide shot. We got a lot of people in. Let's go back to Alan and Bruce with our next guests who aren't used to being on camera. They're usually used to being sitting beside me at a table at the Keota High School. Alan and Bruce, take it away.
All right. Thanks, Steve. We brought some special guests in here today of the Steve Shuttler Media coverage of the Keota Eagles basketball. We've got Eddie Conrad here with us, and I'm going to do something here a little different. I'm going to have Eddie announce the two guys like he does for football, because I was at home trying it. I can't do it. I don't have it. So,
All right, with us today we have Andy McGuire and his son, Aiden McGuire.
I love that, and I know the crowd does too. And that was like one of my highlights during football. I loved when Aiden made a tackle or whatnot, and he got his name announced. So, thanks guys for coming in today. I think we'll just start here, Eddie, with you. What we kind of do for a first-time guest of Steve's 750,000 hit list that watches. Eddie, just kind of tell us your upbringing, where you went to school, what activities you're in, kind of, how you got to be an announcer, I guess, for football and for basketball and just whatnot of what.
Yeah, so name's Eddie Conrad. Grew up here in Sigourney, Iowa. For those Keota fans watching, we're big team members during football and kind of biggest rivals during basketball. So it's been interesting for me to be able to cheer on the Keota basketball boys and girls this year. I got into announcing actually by the two men on the end here, Bruce and Alan. My dad announced football when I was in high school, all the way up until when my brother was in high school. And then Bruce took over. And I think one day Bruce and my dad were at a baseball game, and they were talking about how neither of them wanted to do it that year. And I had just moved back to Iowa from Oregon, and they asked me, and of course I said, yeah. I think pretty profoundly, yes. And then came back and did it this year, and I can't remember if I'm assuming Bruce and Alan also talked to Steve about me announcing the Keota basketball team. So thanks to Bruce and Alan for getting me into this, because it's one of my favorite things to do. I kind of like being the center of attention. It's weird sharing the limelight with Andy over here, but it's all good. No, I love being a part of the community here.
Okay, and Andy, kind of the same thing, just kind of where your upbringing was, what you were involved in and stuff.
I don't know about that limelight, Eddie. I think you take the cake there, buddy. But and you're right, Steve. We have face for radio, not for TV, so we'll stay on that side of the camera moving forward. But I grew up in Washington, Iowa, just down Highway 92, and I was involved in everything growing up, whether it was sports or band or choir or theater. I tried a little bit of everything. I was probably better at the band and choir and that sort of thing, but I still love sports, and I encourage my kids and all kids to do things like that. So I was fortunate enough to know a bunch of Keota kids, in high school, and I worked summer for construction for Gene Brenneman. So I learned how to take some motivation, as we call it, the other night, and we can have Aiden talk about Coach Stout's motivation. But no, I enjoy talking about any sports, whether it's Keota Eagles or SK Cobra football, or even the Savages or the other, Keokuk County teams. So I love to support all those kids. And I got into this. I was kind of shoved into it by my wife after a Keota baseball game one day. There was another podcaster that was wanting to do an interview about the team. So I jumped on, because everybody else was looking around like, who's going to talk about these guys? And I just kind of stumbled into it. And then I think thanks to you, Alan, or Bruce, mentioned that maybe I could help out with Eddie, or at least drag him down a little bit. But no, it's a lot of fun, and I really enjoy covering these kids and bringing light to whatever sport it is.
And Aiden, same thing here. I just, go back to your elementary years. Tell us, everything you've been involved in, and maybe a little bit about Keota basketball right now.
Oh boy, starting from elementary, did football, basketball, baseball, and that was in 4-H, I guess, and got into that. And then got up to junior high, and I decided I was going to try track. That didn't work out too well for me. Not my cup of tea, so I decided to throw there. And then football, I wasn't very good at football, I'd say, and then worked at it enough that the last 2 years I kind of crushed it, I feel like I did. But coming around to basketball, same thing. I'm not the best out there, but I'll try going out there and get a couple steals and rebounds for us to help the team as much as I can. And then baseball, I feel like I've been pretty decent at baseball most of my career. I'm not the greatest out there on the field, but I'm giving everything I got to help us out. So lived in Keota most of my life, with Cedar Rapids for preschool. And I can see why you're not in choir anymore also. That's obvious.
Here we go. It never stops. It never stops.
No, and Aiden, I know you had a really nice game there the other night, 12 points there. And, me and Bruce, I know, watch your games. Then these guys do a great job of announcing. But you had a really nice game. And going on back to football, I remember when you came in 7th grade, and me and Bruce have talked about this. You were a kid that definitely lacked a little bit at the time. But I'll tell you what, from your 7th grade year to your senior year, if there was a most improved kid, holy cow. And it's not just because you're sitting here. You improved so much. I mean, you were a huge part of SK football. So good job on that part. And you know what? I'm glad to say that, we coached you. So you're a very good kid. So
Thank you.
Let's see, on to football and basketball here, Eddie. I mean, kind of like, do you feel like the basketball maybe gives you a few tidbits, come football season this year, or vice versa, or, of helping you with your, with announcing what to say, what not to say? Year one in football, I know that gets excited as all get out, but basketball, you do a great job too. And just kind of tell us about the difference between the two, and maybe kind of how it's helped you out.
I'd say the biggest thing in basketball, at least, is we're a lot closer to the field, a lot less players to keep track of, so it's easier for me to kind of follow that around. I don't have my press box manager, Bruce, telling me who's making the tackles when I'm trying to watch who's running the ball. But I enjoy – I don't know – the thing I have is I have a lot of passion for whatever I'm into. And so sometimes it takes a hand on the back from Bruce, or maybe a look from Steve to kind of cool down. I just get really into anything I'm announcing, and get a little loud sometimes. I think I may have let out a woo, maybe a Ric Flair woo at a North Mahaska game one time. And I was like, oh, yeah, I'm announcing this game. I'm not watching it. But no, watching the basketball is a lot more fast-paced, so you kind of have to keep on your toes a little bit more. And so that'll – going into football season, that'll help me kind of keep track of where everybody's at, maybe kind of make the announcement a little quicker and not be as slow, I guess. I know sometimes I get upset with myself when I'm up there and I'm not maybe getting after it as fast as I should. And the other thing about having Andy on my side is I kind of just do the play-by-play, watch what I see. he's got to come up with quips, stats. He's doing all the interesting stuff that kind of keeps that people actually want to listen to. They don't want to just listen to me yelling at people on the court. But no, I think basketball and is going to help me in the football announcing, I guess, just because it's so much more fast-paced. So.
And that was kind of my next question here for Andy is, how do you prepare for a game? I mean, do you go back, look at stats for both teams or whatnot? Just kind of how do you prepare for a game?
Well, it's kind of developed through the season, Alan. It was I think for the first few games, I'd take maybe 45 minutes or an hour and look back at stats and kind of prepare a sheet that I would go off of. As of late, it's mostly been just going on Varsity Bound and looking at, the records, looking at the leading scorers, finding out maybe the last time Keota played whatever opponent it is, or maybe even looking at common opponents just to let folks know who's watching, who to watch during the game. But it seems like every night there's somebody else that steps up. That North Tama game, the Dvorak kid in that first quarter knocked down 5 or 6 threes, and he was on my radar, but he wasn't on my radar the way that like Josh Dostal was, being the leading scorer for North Tama. So you have to be on your feet for those things, but that's what makes that game interesting, and that's when that it's going to be a contest, is when somebody else steps up and does something different. So it's mostly just online stuff, and if you can find stuff online, I don't have access to Huddle or things like that, but if I can find a YouTube video, sometimes I'll watch it, not only as preparing for the broadcast, but also as a parent to know what the team's up against and what we're expecting to see. So I try and do a little bit of scouting that way too.
Okay. Very good. Okay.
Is it true, Andy McGuire? I have heard rumors that if you're not here at Brothers Market in person, that the McGuire family likes to get up on Saturday mornings and sit around ye old television and watch the sports section live from Brothers Market on the TV. Is that a McGuire family outing?
Yeah, it absolutely is. I'm sure that my lovely wife is chiming in probably on the feed right now. But, from the get-go, we've been one to watch it, and not only at Shetler Media, but whatever media outlet it is. And if there's a Keota Eagle involved or an SK Cobra, we're trying to find out what they're saying about it, just because we love, all the teams that these kids play on. We support the kids, and, it's just awesome to see the support all the way around. And we love the coverage, too. That's one thing that you don't get in Sigourney or Keota typically is a lot of coverage on these teams. So, being a part of that is really something special, not only as a broadcaster, a member of the community, but also as a parent. So, if I can talk about Aiden a little bit, I'll talk about him all day long just because I love the kid. But I feel that same way about a lot of Keota kids, a lot of Sigourney kids too, that if I have an opportunity to talk about Jake Moore, I get an opportunity to talk about, Isaac Bruns or Solon Yates or Woody or any of those guys, I'm going to take that opportunity because they're all great kids, and I support them 100%.
And I love it too, Andy, because of with the football. I mean, we've all become friends, of Sigourney and Keota, and I know, when we do play basketball, everybody, we each want to win or baseball, but when it comes right down to it, sports isn't everything, and when you get out of school, you've developed a lot of friends. So that's why I love going back to the football program. I wouldn't have half the friends I have today if we would have never consolidated in football, and now I have as many friends from Keota as I do from Sigourney. So back to you, Aiden. Aiden, you want to just kind of talk about the basketball season and maybe some of your memories from even freshman year on up, and then kind of this year, like who do you feel kind of like was your biggest test or a mismatch for you? You guys are a mismatch for most people, but I mean a tough matchup, I guess.
Oh, it's been a good season. I wouldn't say it's been long yet. We've been playing for a while, and we probably started our season back in June. Some guys went down to a tournament at Lone Tree, and then another tournament in October up at Williamsburg. So a lot of the guys have been working at it for a long time, and then even previous years, just guys going in there. And I know that as soon as basketball seasons hit, that as soon as we had free time, we were down in the gym shooting hoops and just going at it. And I know a lot of us get a lot of free time and put a lot of shots up. Like me, I don't take too many classes, so I got study hall. But I mean, we've played a lot of teams, and then some haven't gave us a whole heck of a lot of a fight. And like our coach Stout has said, a lot of time our practices are harder than what the games will be, and that's a true statement. We like to get after it in practice. And Linville-Sully was a tough game, but I think that Montezuma might have caught us off guard. we actually just finished playing Linville Solely, and then we go to play Montezuma, and they weren't quite rated as high as them, so we thought maybe we had the sweep on them, and they came out and put a heck of a run on us. We started out 17-0 almost on our first streak, and they just came back and fought, and we pretty near lost that game. So I'll give props to them that they put up a fight, and we didn't really expect it. So our season going pretty good, though, after that.
And what is it like going from football to basketball and when you guys play the Sigourney kids?
Playing Sigourney and other sports, there's always the smack talk that who's going to win and who's not going to win. But this year I felt we kind of sweeped them, and they, after a first little bit, they were still talking, and then we were talking back. And it's not just we're getting in each other's heads to be mean about it. We're just friends and going at it. And that's one thing I like about playing them is that it's a friendly talk and not just being rude to each other.
And what's great, Aiden, is that goes way back to when we were in school, when Keota joined us in football. And I mean, we'd talk the same stuff. We beat you in basketball, or we own you in baseball, or whatever it is. But it's just fun, a fun rivalry too. I mean, anyway, in my eyes. So
I think the last time Sigourney beat Keota in basketball was either my junior or senior year, when they had, I think Casey Searon had just graduated, so they no longer had a big guy down low. We ended up beating them by like 2 or 3, and that was the biggest win we had all season, was beating Keota. So I just had to throw that in there.
Bruce?
No, the last time we beat Keota was 2 years ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, with Levi Crawford. Levi nice. Crawford. Yeah, that was an interesting game to say the least. But I know Eddie went through the SK program. We went through the SK program. What's it like this for you, Aiden, to build those memories, and for Eddie to build those friendships and those relationships with kids from another town that, had we not joined football, you would only know them as competitors? What's it like to have that kind of friendship?
It's definitely nice to have friends from a different school that you don't see every day. So on the weekends, you can go out and hang out with them, and it's a different scenario than every day in school. So it's always nice just to have that another set of people you can always go hang out with. And if we didn't join, I think the rivalry would be a lot worse than what it was. I feel like the smack talk wouldn't be so friendly, and there wouldn't be as many friendships being formed because we live so close together.
Yeah, I've been out of high school now, 11 years almost. And I hang out with my Keota friends more than I hang out with my Sigourney friends. And it actually all started flag football. My dad always picked the Keota kids to be on our team. So there's these 2 brothers, the Berg brothers, and they're probably my closest friends from there, and I hang out with them more than I do people from Sigourney. But the bonds that I made, I guess, through every sports in general, track too, because that's something you go to and you get to see a lot of different people you don't see normally during school. But I did like the fact that you didn't have to see them every day. Was it kind of like if you date a girl from a different school, it's nice because you don't got to see them in the halls every day?
Yeah, that's about it.
But no, it was the friendships are lifelong, and you'll find that out as you get older and graduate high school and go on in your life.
So in other words, that's probably why Andy has a big smile on his face right now. He got away from you, Aaron, for a little bit of time here.
I can't let that one just skate by. Absolutely not. No, I would spend every waking moment with a girl if I could. I love her to death, but no. And I got to say, what SK has going on with the sharing and just the small schools is really something special. Growing up in Washington as a 3A school, much larger, one of the things I was really impressed with when we joined the community was how inclusive it is, even though they're separated. And I attribute that to you, Alan, and you, Bruce. I remember, starting with this guy in soccer, over at the Sadak Park, before we had the field up north here, and it was like, wow, this is pretty impressive for a community of this size. Coming from Cedar Rapids, we had been in some of the bigger schools in the state of Iowa down to this. So what this community has is absolutely something special. I think a lot of folks around here take it for granted. I don't. I think it is really, really a benefit to my kids to be a part of a community like this, that they have opportunities to play in every single sport, to be in every activity that they want to be in. So it's awesome. It really is.
Well, I think, aren't we the longest sharing program in the state of
Yes.
Iowa?
Yep.
And I mean, that's a testament to the parents, the players, the communities, to be able to do that. I know there's so many communities that have shared and then broke apart, and I mean, I couldn't imagine football, bowling, soccer without it being SK. That's just kind of, you wake up in the morning, it's SK football, it's SK bowling, and I mean, it does a lot for our students. The one question I have for Aiden, and we ask everybody this: who's your favorite coach? And you can say your dad if you want to.
Yeah,
but
I probably had to say my dad. I mean, he probably was the least afraid to get after me, more than some coaches, cross their boundaries. We'd get home, and he'd kind of tear into me a little bit about what I did wrong at practice. And it wasn't the best time for me, but it definitely helped me.
Aiden, you got to pull those flags, not tackle them.
I know I got on you in junior high football. I mean, when you play end, you're going to get yelled at when I'm coaching you because we got one job, right?
Yeah.
Nobody outside.
I mean, Stout let into me the other day, but that was nothing. I've been used to people yelling at me like that for a while from Dad. So
I gotta.
So you just tell all your friends it's conditioning. It's conditioning, just like running.
Yeah, I have to clarify this motivation thing because I don't want DHS coming after me. Something crazy, but no, it's one of those things that, and I've had this conversation with my other kids. I don't care what sport you go out for or what activity you're involved in. You have to go 100%. That is just a staple in my household, that you have to go 100%. Now, if I see you letting off the gas for some reason, you got to keep going. We don't have that margin, or I didn't have that margin. I wasn't a phenomenal athlete, but I had to make up for it in effort. And I think that's really what Aiden has figured out, especially over these last couple of years in football. And you see it on the basketball floor too. It is hustle 100% of the time. And I hate the cliches of, he's got a high motor, he's a high energy guy. He is. He absolutely is. But he's smart and he's physical, and those are the things that you have to have in anything in life, is to be smart and to go after. If you want something, you go get it.
All gas, no brakes for me.
It reminds me of a quote from a famous bull rider, Ty Murray, or J.B. Mooney. A teaspoon of effort, a teaspoon of try will beat a bucket of talent every day.
Back to Eddie and Andy here. I just wanted to kind of ask you guys, kind of throughout the season as your first year here announcing, what memories do you have, whether it's speaking or a game or accidentally throwing the wrong word out during a game, or maybe that's just Lee Crawford. I don't know.
Allegedly. This is all brand new to me, and I'm very, very appreciative of Steve there sitting behind the camera or behind the mic and the computer. This is an opportunity that I never thought I would get, and football announcing is one thing. This is kind of a bigger audience, and it's funny because at one point in time I did want to go to school to be a broadcaster. I was like, I didn't think that was a real thing. No offense, Steve, it's a real thing. I know it is now, but just given this opportunity is awesome. And memories are, it doesn't matter what I say. Somehow these guys got to come up with some line from the 60s. What are you guys, like 80 years old? From like the 70s or something, and I have no idea what they're talking about. It makes me feel like I'm out of place, but no, just this is a fun camaraderie that we have up there in the box, and it is a tiny table. I don't know if you guys have seen this. We are like this in the stands, and I can't really fully stand up for the national anthem, and so we're really close, tight knit, literally and figuratively. So. Man, and just watching this Keota team, you got 10 guys there that are 9 or 10 seniors, and any of them can start for any team in the state, and it is just so much fun to watch. Anybody can go off at any point in time. I'll just hand it over to Andy because this has been a fun ride.
You went a million different places with that one, Eddie. What was the question again, Ellen?
Just memories.
Oh, memories. Gotcha. Okay, man alive. Yeah, there's a lot of memories. I still remember when Eddie and Steve and I got together in Steve's dining room just to kind of chat through what was going to happen with this thing. And I don't think any one of us knew which way it was going to go, but I had a great feeling that night that we were going to vibe together, and I think we have. I think it's taken a little bit of time over those first few games, especially to know, Eddie is calling the play-by-play. I'll jump in when I can, and Steve's done a good job of keeping that in check. Memories-wise, man, every single game there's something that happens that we're all up there just dying about, laughing about. Steve was blowing kisses to Eddie the other night. I looked down, I'm like, what is this cat doing? And Eddie looks at me like, I don't know what's going on, and he's trying to get us to laugh, and I'm dying, and it's funny, and people are texting me during the game, and I'm trying to keep focused. Yeah, the other night, I'll tell this story because I know he won't care. Steve Axme was sitting right next to me when we were playing EV, and he was bumping me, and he was talking to me about things, and Steve's a big guy, and he's really emotional, not emotional, but he's just physical, and that's a memory of mine I'll never forget because he's commenting in my ear while I'm trying to focus on the game, and that was so fun. But a lot of these wins have been a lot of fun to watch this team go 23-0. To watch Bubby do what he's done, to support him, it's been really special. One thing I want to talk just a minute about are, I think we get a lot of light shed on Sawyer, and deservedly so, for his 1,000 points, and Billy Kindred for breaking his dad's rebound record, for Cole Kindred being the phenomenal athlete that he is, for Evan Vitito being the phenomenal athlete that he is, and Tanner Waterhouse, who's probably improved. You talk about improvement. I think Tanner's improvement from last year to this year is unbelievable. The kid is so smooth. He's so athletic. He has a pure shot. He's a basketball player. It's been fun to watch that. But what I want to talk about is the guys off the bench. I want to talk about Chase Hafley as a sophomore coming in and doing what he's doing. You talk about a kid that could start on any team. That is one of those guys that would start on absolutely any team in the Sickle. I guarantee you that he would be on that floor if it wasn't for Cole Kindred and Sawyer Stout or Connor Strand. That kid would be on any single floor on a starting night if it wasn't for Evan Vitito being right there. And I'm not saying that there's head and tails above one to the next. I'm just saying that is the level of depth that we have. Chase Sear, and his game continues to improve. He's been knocking down threes. He's a hustle kid, smart kid, great coachable kid. And Aiden, of course, I have to be careful because I don't want to seem like a homer talking about Aiden all the time, because I'm swayed at his, I have a special feeling for him. But it's awesome to watch him play basketball, to take some of the stuff that he does on the football field and convert that to the basketball court, and to watch him have runs like he had the other night against North Tama, or even against EV, to put up 14 one night, 12 the next night. For guys like Sawyer Stout, that's not a big number, but for him, that's an awesome number. So I'm very proud of the work that he's put into that, and it's been fun to watch those kids. So those guys, I think, are kind of the unsung heroes, if you will, for Keota basketball, because we talk about the depth all the time, but those guys aren't the ones that are sitting here having the interviews, and those guys aren't the ones getting put on KCII, but they're deserved. And I've coached those guys when they were in third, fourth grade, and those two teams would go at each other. We would split them up, and that's the way it's been since third grade. And those two teams are literally, like a 1 and a 1A team. They're just phenomenal kids. So I had to get that plug in for those guys.
No, very good, and they deserve it too. Aiden, my last question for you here. Obviously, it's your senior year. It's winding down here. Are you just enjoying every moment, or does it even hit you that, wow, this is my senior year? If we lose, it's over. So,
I do think about it here and there, but I try blocking it out and just living it up and enjoy every second I've got with it, because I think it was my sophomore year. Baseball had just finished up, and I kind of set in that I only had 2 years left. And then I think kind of just hit that I got to start working harder, and if I want to play more and go after it. So I've definitely thought about my senior year being over, but it's a happy sad. I've worked all my life practically on these sports, and coming down to my senior year, I get to show what I've done to improve and get where I am today. So I'm excited to see where these next games take us, and hoping to get up to Wells.
And you're just one of the few kids I know that we always tell when you come into seventh grade there of, enjoy every day, because it's going to go fast. And, here you are, Aiden. It's just your senior year. And, I look at you, it's still like, God, I remember when you guys came into junior high, and here you are, your senior year. So, just congratulations on everything you've done, accomplished, and improved at, because you definitely, football definitely sticks out in my mind of how much you improved. And, man, you had a great senior campaign for football. Steve, you got anything else here?
I was going to say, we're just about 6 months into the Steve Shetler Media thing, and when I was doing the sports section, when the sports section show came to mind, Alan and Bruce, you guys were kind of the natural picks. You were the natural go-to to be hosts for this show. When it came time to kind of branch out into live sports, of course, Thunder Country out of Albia has the rights to the Sigourney Sports, so that was out of the question. So it was a natural fit to go to Keota as my number 2 option for the basketball season. And the announcer roles were not a natural fit. I mean, I didn't know who I was going to go with, and the way things have worked out with Eddie and Andy has been phenomenal. Eddie, I was sitting there at a football game in the fall, wondering who I could ask to be the play-by-play guy, and I heard you doing the quiver of cobras, and I was like, Eddie might be the guy. Eddie could be the guy. He's got the personality to be able to pull this off. And then Andy with Alan suggesting knowing that you've had done some commentating before. It all just, like you said, that first time the three of us got together at my dinner table, just seemed like a natural fit for the three of us. And yes, we like to have a good time, man. I've only had to rein Eddie in once. I think he was standing up ready to pummel a referee one time, but I reeled him back in. And if you guys aren't having enough fun in the press box, I'll call it, I'm always the idiot that tries to derail my own broadcast sometimes with some stupid humor. So, like blowing kisses and singing Kalupa Jamaica. I want to take. It's been this Keota basketball season has been a blast, and it's been a learning process. All this stuff has been a learning process for me the last few months. Those first few games with the Wi-Fi and the internet issues and all that stuff. It's just a learning experience, and you guys, Alan, Bruce, Eddie, and Andy, you guys have all made it a pleasure and a lot of fun. So I thank all of you guys for helping me out here on Steve Shetler Media.
Bruce, okay.
The only thing I want to know, Steve, is how did you only have to rein him in once?
I know.
Really?
Yeah.
Once?
Just
Only
one
once?
I think Eddie had to rein me in once at Tri-County because I was about to go postal on my equipment. But
and the last thing I got is Aiden, I want to thank you. When we get a bunch of kids come into junior high football, one of the biggest things I always tell them is you will get what you earn. If you put in the work, you will be rewarded. And guys that come to mind are you, Hunter Siren. I mean, you guys came into junior high football, and, I mean, you and Hunter were the same size. You were about this tall, about this big around. And it's like, he's a defensive end. That's just where I'm going to stick him. And you hit the weight room. You put in the effort. You put in the work. And you've had a phenomenal career, phenomenal season so far. And I just want to thank you for making me and Coach look good that what we say actually can happen.
Yes, thank you.
No, before we get to the pick'ems here, I got 2 more shout-outs here real quick, Steve. One, I wanted to shout out, I know you guys announced not only the boys but the girls for Keota. And, Coach Sprouse over there, they had a little rough season record-wise, but you know what? I really feel by watching them, they really did improve throughout the season. And I remember Coach saying once there, I think at your homecoming thing, we're going to give every team all we got, every time we go out. And I really felt they did. And I just wanted to do a little shout out there to Coach Sprouse. He had a great season. Those girls have no reason to hang their heads. They fought every game, and they definitely improved. And my last one is, I know she's watching, I'm sure, is Andy's wife, Erin. Erin is phenomenal of helping. She was probably one of my favorite moms in junior high football, just helping with this and that, and there's a lot of things I couldn't do without her. And Andy, you've been a blessing too in this community for flag football, for soccer, helping out wherever you can. You guys are a phenomenal family. So I just wanted to mention that. And
that would be Mrs. McGuire.
Yeah, yeah, I can't say it like Eddie does. So that's all I got, Steve. Thanks, guys, for coming in.
Are you guys hanging out as our
Yeah,
as
they're
our
going to
guest
be our
pickers?
guests for pickers.
Okay.
So
All right, let's bring up
Or whether they want to or not.
Yeah, let's bring up those graphics right now. We're looking at the Pick'em standings on our screen. As you can see, I changed out my picture in the bottom left corner. Previously you were seeing me from high school football back in the late 1980s. Now we go back even further to a picture of me at the old Sigourney Middle School that's not even there anymore, shooting a free throw. And boy, I tell you what, I was a fantastic free throw shooter, if I do say so myself. So, all right, Pick'em standings. I have actually jumped into the lead once again with 60 overall points. Our guest pickers and Bruce are tied at second place with 58. Alan is at 57. And then Neil Crott, who remains on the injured reserve, is at 56 right now. So, yeah, I'm your number one guy.
I'm gonna give Andy the role today of Neil. Neil needs some help to get back up to the top. So, let's see. So, our first pick here of the day, guys. Thursday night will be women's basketball. Number 4 Iowa at number 14 Indiana, and this was a game where we lost last year. So, Eddie, we'll just start with you and go around the horn.
Do I just say a score and who I think is going to win?
Picking the winner.
Oh, Iowa by 1,000,000.
Amen, brother. Hawks by 1,000,000.
I guess I'll have to go with Iowa.
Iowa.
Yeah, it could be close, but I'll go with Iowa. What's that?
You're wearing an Iowa sweatshirt.
I know, but still, you know.
He's a productionist. He's got a.
I'll go with Iowa, and I'll say Caitlin gets 35.
Caitlin, if you're watching,
Yeah,
I'm
we
going
love
with
you.
I'm going with you, Caitlin. Second game, Saturday, men's basketball. I guess that's today. Number 20, Wisconsin at Iowa.
Wisconsin's been playing kind of rough. I'm going to go Iowa on that one, too, hoping they can pull up and make some more threes.
Well, I'm an Iowa grad. Hawks by 1,000,000.
Wisconsin.
I was proud.
My thought that runs through my head every time we pick these is I got to go with the kids because the kids know. I'm going to go with Aiden and go with Wisconsin.
Yeah, Iowa's just, you never know. I'm going to Wisconsin. Sorry.
I just want to note that this is on camera that Aiden picked Iowa in a pick here because I don't think normally you would. Yeah, I'm going to go Wisconsin. I just don't have a lot of faith in the men's program right now, so I'm going to go Wisconsin. And then back to Tuesday, men's basketball again. Iowa is at Michigan State.
I don't know if we played them earlier this season what the score was, but I think Iowa's going to beat them on that one, too. I got to go Iowa for my dad. He's an Iowa grad, so.
This is purely emotional pick. I am going to go Hawkeyes on every single game just because that's what I do. And Shauna Searon, if you're watching, Hawks by 1,000,000 every single time.
Oh, I don't have a clue how good Michigan State is this year. I'll go Iowa just for you.
Thank you, buddy.
Iowa.
Yeah, I'm not sure about Michigan State. I'm out of the loop on college basketball for the most part. But I don't know. Michigan State.
I'm going to go the Hawks. Michigan State is struggling. I think they only got 7 or 8 wins, so I think I'm going to go Iowa on this one. So they're kind of a win, lose. So I think they're due for another win here. Today, men's basketball, we got Texas Tech at number 10, Iowa State.
This one goes out to Denise Conrad, Iowa State.
Man, Alan with these emotional picks of mine. I'm not doing it. I'm not picking Iowa State. Texas Tech, baby. Texas Tech. Go Raiders. Whatever the Raider thing is.
That's a terrible pick.
You're flashing the horns.
Iowa State's winning.
Iowa State.
I'll say Iowa State.
Yeah, unfortunately, Hilton will probably have some magic today, so I'll go Iowa State. Men's basketball, and then they turn around Monday night in a big showdown. Number 10, Iowa State at number 3, Houston.
Houston had a couple rough losses in the middle of the season.
One was to Iowa State.
And I was thinking, and I think Iowa State's going to come back. They've been playing their best basketball from what I've seen. Again, I've been mainly keeping up with Caitlin Clark, so we're going to go Iowa State.
Yeah. Well, you can go Iowa State because I am not. I'm staying with Houston. Shauna, Houston. Aiden, Houston.
No. Oh boy, that's tough. They played a good game the first time, and then at Houston this time. Nah, I'm gonna still stick it with Iowa State.
Okay, so they're not the smartest. Houston's going to be looking for revenge. I'm sure that one still stings, so I'm going Houston.
I just had a flashback to the 80s when, like, was it Clyde Drexler and Akeem Olajuwon were at Houston?
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know why I thought that, but Houston, yes.
Back in the 60s?
That's an Eddie. I brought that up just for Eddie. 1980s, Eddie. 80s.
I'm going Houston on that one. Tuesday night, number 1 UConn at number 17 Creighton.
Dougie's not playing there anymore, is he? No, we're going to go UConn.
No more Dougie Fresh, eh? Yeah. UConn.
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 Who do we got?
UConn, who's number 1, at Creighton, number 17. And Creighton's pretty legit, too.
I'll go Creighton.
Yeah, Creighton is pretty legit.
I'm going to go UConn. Tuesday night, men's basketball, Baylor, number 12 Baylor, at number 19 BYU.
Let's go BYU. I think they might pull some magic out.
Going with the Mormons.
Yep.
Can we talk about that on this podcast?
We can talk about anything
Go
we
with
want.
those old
Andy.
This is not syndicated on the Mormons.
Nope.
No, God bless you, Mormons. I don't even know who's playing. What did you say it was? BYU and Baylor? Baylor. Are you kidding me? Baylor. For Neil Crott, Baylor.
Yeah, thanks, Neil.
At BYU.
Yes.
Got God on their side. It's BYU. It's BYU.
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 Yeah, I'm going to go BYU there, too.
Home team gets plus
Today, number 6 Kansas at number 25 Oklahoma.
Rock Chalk Jayhawk, go Kansas.
Oh, man. Oh. Kansas.
Kansas.
Boomer. The Sooners.
Yeah, Kansas looks pretty good. They're pretty tough, so I'm going to go Kansas.
See, this is why I'm in first place, because I go against everybody.
Steve, you know what? The other day I was thinking, you remind me of one of those girls that know nothing about basketball, and they will win the NCAA pool because they either like their nickname or their colors, and that's how they choose them.
Stop it. I just like the Oklahoma Sooners.
Okay, our last 2 games are going high school basketball. On the flip side of the bracket here, we're going to go Key High versus South Win.
I'm going to have to go with Key High.
Yeah, Key High's going to win.
Yeah, Key High.
Key High.
Who the heck is Key High?
It's on the Mississippi in northeast Iowa.
Who are they going against?
South Winneshiek.
Well, obviously, the South. What do you call a group of South Winnesheekians? That's another thing we do at the Keota game.
Yeah, you looking for the color of their jerseys, or?
South Winnesheek.
I think that they're
You know,
red. I think they're red.
I like Southeast Winneshiek, but we'll go South. South side, yo.
I'm going to go Key High. I think they're the top seed on that other bracket, so I'm guessing they're pretty legit. And then our last game, Keota versus Gladbrook Rhinebeck, but we can't pick the winner because DCI could come in and look at you two. Aiden's playing in the game, so what we're going to do is an over-under total points for Keota, and I'm going to have it set at 80. I'm going to put 80 on the line, so over-under Keota versus Gladbrook. We know Keota's going to win, but we're going to put the point spread at 80 points for Keota.
Coach Dan Stout always says you got to score 80 to beat the Keota Eagles, so over.
Yeah, the Eagles are averaging 77.2. Gladbrook's going to press. This is going to be a run-and-gun game. Over 80.
I hate to do this, but I think Gladbrook plays solid defense, but we play better defense, in my opinion. We play solid defense when it gets down to crunch time, but I think the game will go a little bit slower when they start pressing, slow us down a little bit. I think we'll score right at like 78, so just under.
Well, I'm going under with Aiden.
Over. Red Rover.
I'm going to go the under just because I feel like Keota's going to be up 79 to 59 with Aiden McGuire on the free throw line with 1 second left, and he purposely misses it.
Purposely?
He purposely shaves the point.
Is it going to hit the rim?
Yeah.
Easy there.
He's going to clank off
So
the
no,
backboard.
I'm going to take the under. I'm going to say 79 though, but more than likely, those Keota boys can score. So they've definitely put their share of points up. So
Maybe it'll be like one of those Loyola Marymount games from back in the day. Another old man reference, Eddie. Hank Gathers, Bo Kimball. Look him up.
No. So that's our pick'em show for the day, guys. Thanks for coming in. It's always good seeing you guys. So appreciate your time.
All right.
Last
that'll
thing
do
I
it.
got for
Oh,
Eddie
yeah.
is so I still watch the 80s movies. So if you need some help
Some references.
with references, I'll give you the movies to watch. They're good movies. They are good movies.
Netflix has a bunch of 80s movies. I'm trying to watch them now. I did watch Roadhouse. Great movie.
Great
Patrick
movie.
Swayze. Awesome. I've been trying. If I see him on Netflix, I'll watch him.
Yeah.
And last thing,
Research for
Aiden,
next year.
Aiden, good luck next week with Gladbrook Rhinebeck. Plan on going up to Waterloo East to make a trip to state. So good luck.
Thank you.
All right, that'll do it for our sports section coaches show here on Steve Schottler Media, live at Brothers Market, again at 118 South Main in Sigourney. Get in here, do your grocery shopping. Make sure you check out the Brothers Market digital app. Download that and take advantage of all the great deals going on there. That is your sports section coaches show. We'll be back at it live here next Saturday morning at 8 a.m. here on Steve Schottler Media.
All right. Thanks, Eddie.